Photographers, filmmakers, and anyone else in the industry. My name is Parag Savla, and today we have a photographer known as Antony Trivet. Antony, welcome to the show. You started photography, you started learning in 2010 after leaving high school.
Yes.
You went to Slum TV Mwelu Foundation, where you started learning how to do video. For the organization, for the church, and at the same time you are doing a CPA.
Yes.
So tell us more on the journey and how from CPA you decided to become a full-time photographer.
I joined Mwelu Foundation in 2010 immediately after high school, where I learned videography, shooting. Later on, after a few months, I joined Redeemed Gospel Church Media, where I learned more about the video. As time goes by, I came to get the interest in photography, where I looked around in 2013 and I joined Photo Magic run by Steve Nderito, where I learned more about the studio work and the weddings and how to use the camera in terms of the photography away from the video. That's where I got the interest with shooting portraits and the weddings.
So currently, the genre you specialize in is wedding and portraits, and in portraits more of corporate headshots.
Yeah. And the actors, and also work with the models. Specifically, when I'm working with the models, I work them to help them to create their own portfolio so that they can get into the market.
So video you were learning, but you had a passion, and that's when you started knowing photography and you decided that this is my passion. And you even quit CPA.
While I was studying the CPAs I used to go for the normal classes. But you'll find the CPAs you do them in terms of the sections. Like you have got section 1, section 2. Instead of combining them, I found like it was easier to do section 1 and then section 2 and then section 3. So while I was doing the section 1, I came to realize like my timetable was flexible. I could have done some other things. I had interest in football also. I used to play football.
Yes.
But for the football, I used to play it either early in the morning or late in the evening.
Okay.
But for the early in the morning, it was a bit hectic because of the school. So most of the time, you could find me in the pitch in the evening. But in between, you could also find me in the foundations. In the foundation, that's where I used to learn videos. Now it was easier to combine them because for the video, it's more engaging when you are doing as compared to when you are doing the theory part of it.
Yeah. So tell me, after you finished learning in 2013 with your photography course with Photo Magic, how did you get the first wedding job, or how did you manage to get into the industry? Because there are a lot of photographers who do wedding photography.
The moment I joined Steve Nderito, the amazing thing, the next Saturday he had 2 events. The first event was a graduation at a Desta, and then the second event it was the weddings. A good wedding, like a high-end wedding, because it was at Windsor. I've never been to Windsor. It was my first time to go to Windsor.
Okay.
So he asked me, like, which event do you want to attend to? And he gave me an option, either to go to the graduations or to go to the wedding. I didn't have an interest with the graduations. So we ended up going to the weddings at Windsor. That was my first wedding to act as actually I was not the second photographer.
Okay.
I was the third photographer. Yeah, like your pictures might be used for the album, they might not be used depending on what you are going to capture. That was back in 2013. After 2013, remember I was also shooting for the church, the video.
Yes.
And there was a friend of mine who was wedding. Now we negotiated with him, and later on after negotiation, after doing my maths, I came to realize actually I was going to make nothing. And even it forced me to go back in my pocket and deliver what I had promised.
Okay.
Actually, I ended up making the losses. Now what I did, since I didn't have enough experience for shooting the weddings, I looked for a photographer who was very good at shooting the weddings. Now I made him to be first photographer in quotes, so that he could be able to help me doing the shoot, and I could stand there just for the face of the Antony Trivet Photography. Yeah, we did the shoot, the couple was happy with the wedding, and from there, that's where I kicked up for the wedding industry. After there, in 2013, I didn't have any wedding. 2014, I got my second wedding. Now, for this second wedding, it was a referral from the first couple. The best thing I usually appreciate from that couple, they never told the second couple like the amount that I had charged them.
Yes.
They only referred them and they told them, go and talk to him. He's a nice guy, he'll give you a good budget. Yeah. Now I made my profit on the second wedding.
So you build a name for yourself, and
on the first wedding.
And you had patience to wait for almost a year before you got the other job. But to say, talking about patience, wedding is a long day, so early, maybe sometimes you would wake up at 4 in the morning till when do you finish? Late at night?
For the weddings, as you grow, it depends with the nature of the weddings that you are going to get. As you grow, you will get, those weddings that the client will request you to be there at their place at 6 p.m. At 6 a.m., although you are going to do nothing at that time. But as you grow, you can be able to tell the client, you can be able to advise the client, like, we need to be there by 7 a.m. and we'll be able to we'll start shooting ABCD. You can be able to control your time. Also, for the weddings, it comes with passion. Without passion, you can't do the weddings. And also it comes with knowing how to control and to manage the people. It's very hard to manage the people. If you react very fast emotionally, it's really very difficult for you to work in the wedding industry, because the client will be here, you'll be here at the same time. So when the client is here, you need to calm down, cool down, because at the end of the day, you need those photos.
So when you're at a wedding, you've got about 100, 200 guests with their photos out, trying to capture the moment. How do you deal with them? Do they disturb you, or how do you control that?
For the controlling, sometimes it's very hard. It's very hard to control the crowds, but also it depends with the system. You as a company, how do you deal with clients? How do you educate your clients when you are meeting with them, and how does your systems work? Like the moment you meet the client, you need most of the photographers, they usually have the frequently asked questions. Now you can include either in your contract or in a frequently asked question. You can tell them, or you can guide them and tell them, in any case, something happened to your images because of this guy you are coming to take the photos, you are not liable. You can't do much to be able to recover the images. And maybe if you are forced to do much, you can only turn that image to black and white, because of the color cast.
Yeah.
And remember, some are flashing, some are not flashing. Sometimes it might affect your images.
Yeah.
Now, if the clients are aware of the impact of the guys who are going to take the photos, they can be able to control, not fully control, but a certain percentage, not 100%, maybe something to do with 80-70. When you get a control of 70 to 80%, the other remaining 30, it's easier to work with.
Okay.
And also, if the clients can come with posters that tells the client, you came here to enjoy the day, please relax, there's someone who is doing that, and to capture the moments that you're giving them, it becomes easier. And also you can be very nice to them and tell them, instead of going to compete with the photographer, taking the photos, you can take the photos by where you are seated. Please don't move. It becomes easier.
Okay. So but now the thing is, everyone wants to have that photo for themselves. So then during the wedding, do the guests ask you to send them a photo, or you just tell them, I'm giving it to the client and the client will share it with you? How do you manage that part also?
Honestly, I've never encountered that because most of the time I shoot black and white. So I wear black.
Okay.
And most of the time I use prime lenses.
Okay.
And my favorite prime lens, it's 135 mm. That even sometimes the client will wonder if I'm taking photos or I'm just somewhere relaxing.
Oh.
Now, the person who usually gets that problem is my second shooter because it's visible. Most of the time, he's seen by other guests.
Okay.
And he shoots wide angle because for me, most of the time, I'm very tight and I'm away from the guests. So you won't know whether I'm there or I'm the one taking the photos.
Yeah.
When that chance comes, like the guests, they require the photos, at the end of the day, they are not coming to me. They will be coming to the second photographer.
Okay.
And now the second photographer, I've taught them in such a way they can be able to manage themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
You are also now teaching. Maybe you can share how that is, how is sharing your experience, how is it being a teacher? Also, what has changed from the time you learned in 2013 to now 2019?
If I can track back in 2013, in 2013, I think it took almost an year to convince Nderito that I can be able to join him.
Yeah.
I think from 2012, it took from 2012 all that year, I kept on writing the Facebook messages to Nderito, telling him like
consistent,
I need to join you guys.
Yes.
And I think I forced him to open the Photo Magic School. Comparing that time and now it's very easier to get the knowledge. Because for now, we have got many schools. Now it depends with the upcoming photographer, which schools do you need to join.
Because you are also teaching what, 3 schools?
Yeah, now I teach 3 schools.
Yeah.
And the best thing with teaching, you learn more.
Okay.
And you share more.
Yes.
Also, like depending on the schools, there are those schools that will give you more practicals. It becomes easier. Even when you're interacting with other students, you get to know this is the weakness of doing ABCD, and I can be able to improve on this side.
Practicals, that's something you said that something you would have known when you started shooting. So has that changed now? Are the students you're teaching, when you said that, you know, someone would have, you wish someone would have told you that just start shooting, how would that have helped you?
The problems comes, like for example, I can put myself in a student's shoes. When you have joined the schools, you have paid them cash, and maybe sometimes you find that school doesn't provide the cameras or it doesn't have access to the cameras. Now it becomes very difficult. Like you teach, and then when you give the work, there is no access to the camera to do that work. Now you find like you are lying to those students. Because at the end of the day, as much you are teaching, also it's a practical work. The moment our students get into school, what I can say, if they can be able, even before joining the school, they can hold on before joining the school and get the camera, it will be much easier for them to learn. Because you see, like the secret about the photography, the more you shoot, the more you learn. I can come and give you the notes, full page, 200 page, full, but without shooting, you are not doing justice to yourself.
Okay. So if you would have had a camera when you started, your learning curve would have really...
It will have been straight, never down.
Never down, huh? And I think now the gear has also become relatively cheap compared to 2013, the basic entry level. Do you also do any personal projects?
Yes, I love personal projects than paid gigs.
Okay.
Because the best thing with...
Of course you love paid gigs, because that pays you. Wins food and...
But you see, like, personal projects, you take full control.
Yeah.
And yes, sometimes you work with other talents, like makeup artists, designers. But you come to appreciate, as much you are the photographer, you know the beats. You know the makeup, you know where the highlights are supposed to be, you know the shadows where are supposed to be. You know a little bit about the hair. You can talk about a little bit about the hair. You can mask. Now that's the best thing about the personal project, and also it helps you to make mistakes and you learn from the mistakes. You can't do that on a paid gig. On a paid gig, whether we make it or not,
You
you
don't.
have to be perfectionist.
You cannot experiment on a
Yeah,
paid
you cannot
gig.
experiment. And also, you see, like the paid gig, you are shooting on behalf of someone else's dream.
Yeah.
On a personal project, it's your own dream. You want to achieve something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Have you ever shown your personal project to a client and then the client has said, yes, this is what I want?
Most of my jobs I get from the personal projects.
Okay.
Most of my weddings gigs I get from my personal projects. Yes, I will share my personal projects, but the clients will come and tell me, oh, Antony, I love your black and white, all those dark images.
Maybe something while you are on a shoot, because you're dealing with all these equipment, there are chances that something will not work or you've forgotten to carry particular equipment. Has such a thing happened to you, and what have you done?
Yes.
Because that's a very common thing,
Well, I was starting back in 2018, the moment I joined Derito, I had to carry my own personal project.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know what happened. Like, you get into the field, you start setting up, and then moment later you find like, I had forgotten the trigger. I will start wondering, what next? Do I cancel this shoot for the next day? But at the end of the day, you find like, this guy, the model, has paid also on the transport. You can't let him down.
So without the trigger, you could not fire your
Without
strobe
the trigger,
lights.
to me, according to that moment, I knew without the trigger, I couldn't do anything. But now, the benefit of the internet, I had to Google what next, what can I do? That's the moment I came to realize I can even regulate the power amount, the power
Of the
output of the film. I never cancel the shoot, and the output, apart from the light being controllable, it was
what you wanted.
it was what I wanted.
Anthony,
Yes.
anything you want to share with our audience about yourself? Any parting shots? Any advice? What they need to do to be a wedding photographer, or a portrait photographer, or a photographer in general?
What I can say, whether you are shooting anything, at the end of the day, you need to learn about lighting. Because at the end of the day, the moment you know, you learn how to see the light, it will be easier to control that light. Also, if you're going to deal with people, especially for the wedding photographers, invest and know how to control people in terms of the emotions.
Okay. Speaking of light, we get asked many times when customers come into the store and say, what's the best light? Do you think there's anything like a best light? Because you're saying you need to know, you have to control the light, the environment.
There is no best light.
Yeah.
The only thing about light, maybe if you need more output of the light, but there is no best light. Because I can work with still light.
Yeah. So it's all about the creativity
and knowing to see the light. Even before taking your camera out, you need to see the light. If you can't see the light, then you don't need to invest on the light.
Yes.
Because for this light that you're going to invest on, it's coming to complement all what you are missing.
Okay. Thank you very much. That is Antony Trivet. You can also visit his social media handles. Maybe you can where to find his work and where to, if you want to message him directly. Trivet, maybe you can tell them.
Across all social medias is Antony Trivet. For the website, it's www.antonytrivet.co.ke.